Yo, what's up guys, Live Red Duel is back at it again with another deck profile. This week, we got Fluffal, Invoked. It's a 40 card deck, 15 card extra deck, you know, standard. Before we get started, I want to get a little announcement out. Starting soon, we're going to be doing different kinds of deck profiles. We have a lot of decks that I'm just not comfortable just shitting out a profile with. That would just be terrible. So instead what we're going to do is deck discussions, where we'll give like a sample deck profile, pretty much probably just the main deck for most of them, and then discuss like, you know, how the archetype can improve in the future, what kind of support they would need, potential plays and stuff like that. So a little more in-depth for stuff that I'm not comfortable just putting a profile up for. So with that out of the way, we'll get started. So we start off with, you know, the standard 3 Fluffal Dog. Fluffal Dog is the searcher of the deck when he's normal or special to search for Edge and Sabers, or a Fluffal monster. It's only once per turn, but he's got a big body, you know, Earth Fairy monster, very strong stuff, pretty cool. We play 1 copy of Fluffal Penguin. I had this at 2, but then I tanked it down to 1. He kind of is like a Saryuja. He's baby Saryuja. So he lets you special summon a Fluffal from your hand during the main phase. That can only be used once while he's face up on the field, so if he leaves the field and comes back, you can do it again. And then if he is sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, you draw 2 cards and discard 1. So he's very similar to Saryuja. You know, Saryuja is a Fluffal monster. 2 copies of Fluffal Bear. This turbos out your toy vendor. It helps you get started with wings plays and do standard Fluffal shenanigans stuff. He's pretty cool guy. You only do 1 copy of Owl. I could see taking him out completely, but sometimes you just need that extra ability to fuse. Sometimes you don't have it. Sometimes you've used up all your polys and all that stuff, and you're like, well, what do I do now? And you can just bring him out, pay 500, fuse away. 1 copy of Octopus. So when he is normal or special, do you choose a Fluffal or Edge Imp in your grave and add it to your hand? And then if he's sent to the graveyard for the fusion summon of a Fright for fusion, you target up to 2 of your banished monsters and return them to the graveyard. And it's any of the monsters, not just Fluffals. So in this deck, if you have a banished Alistair, you can return it to the graveyard and get another invocation play or something like that. 1 copy of Fluffal Cat. If it's sent to the graveyard for fusion, you add a poly from grave to hand. So just helps you reuse your polys. Same thing with Rabbit, except it adds a Fluffal or Edge and Sabers from grave to hand. And then the last Fluffal monsters you play are 3 Fluffal Wings. So if it's in your graveyard while you control Toy Vendor, you banish it and another Fluffal to draw a card, and then you can pop a Toy Vendor you control to draw another card, which will then trigger off Toy Vendor's effect. So this card was released in Dimensions of Chaos and allows Fluffals to go insane plus, because it's just a ridiculous card. This card is amazing. Never play less than 3. I was playing Fluffal Hamster before, Fluffal Mouse, whatever he's called. But then I read the line on his text that's like, you can't fusion summon, you can't summon anything except Frightfurs from your extra deck, so I had to take him out. So we play 2 Edge Imp Chain. So when you declare an attack, you can add an Edge Imp Chain from your deck to your hand. That's most likely never going to come up. But if he's sent from hand or field to grave, you add a Fright for card from deck to hand. So you add Fright for Fusion or Fright for Patchwork. That's what we play in here, so pretty good stuff. Optimal Toy Vendor targets. 2 Edge Imp Sabers. He's the main Edge Imp that you're going to be using for all your summons. He's like Plague Spreader. You can place a card from top of your deck, from your hand to the top of your deck to bring him back from grave once per turn. And he doesn't get banished afterwards too, which is cool. I could see taking him down to 1, but I like having 2 just in case, because I can fuse from hand and then bring him back and still have more for plays and stuff like that. And you know, we play 3 copies of Alistair. Search out our invocations, dip to gain attack, big stacks on my fusion boys. He's a pretty cool guy. And the last monster we play is a Garnetto, because we play Brilliant Fusion. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 21 monsters. That's pretty good. Onto the spells. 1 copy of Fright for Fusion. It's Miracle Fusion. for Frighters. It's a pretty good card, but I would never play it at more than one. It's searchable via, a chain, and it's pretty much it's gonna be like your last resort play because you want everything to go from hand or field to grave. You don't really want to banish any of your monsters. There's no real inherent benefit to it, so it's more like a you have to do it sort of thing. It can help you get that last extension you need. 2 copies of Frighters Patchwork. So you add an edge imp and a polymerization from your deck to your hand. So it's really disgustingly good. This deck has like super consistency for no reason. They can search like every single card and can just build the optimal hand. There's very little bricks. When I was testing, I didn't have very many bricks too. But that card's amazing. 2 copies of Invocation, very standard for any invoked variants. Just fuse out a monster from your hand. If you're fusing an invoked, you can banish from either player's graveyard as well. And then you can return an Alistair that's banished to hand, put that back in deck. So, really good card. 2 copies of Poly. It's searchable. It's going to be your main fusion card, unless you want to be cheeky and fuse from hand with Invocation like me. For, Fright for Tiger. But Poly, standard card. Then I play 3 Twin Twister, back row hate. You can die very easily to just getting something solemned. So this can also help you, set up some plays. You can discard a chain or sabers and start doing some stuff. Like if you have a Garnet in hand, you can discard the sabers and put the Garnet back on top of the deck. So Brilliant Fusion's back live. You can discard chain to search Patchwork and then start searching other stuff. So it helps you extend your plays and also protect your plays going forward. Standard 3 Brilliant Fusion. You don't need it, but it definitely helps. If you needed it 100%, I would have definitely tried to fit in the Predaplants. But it's more like a failsafe, I guess. If you draw it, you can get your plays off a lot more easy than you would have before, but you can do just fine without it. So you don't really need to play Brilliant Fusion. 3 copies of Toy Vendor. This is the best card in the entire Fluffal archetype. So once per turn, you can discard a card, draw a card, and show it to your opponent. And if it is a Fluffal monster, then you can special summon a monster from your hand. Otherwise, you discard the card you drew. And then, if this is sent to the graveyard, you add an Edge of Sabers or a Fluffal from deck to your hand. And only the discard effect is a soft once per turn, so the searching is as many times as it goes to grave in a turn. And if you get multiple out, you can discard and draw up to 3 times in a turn. It's very, very good card. Just really solid. And the last spells you play are 3 Magical Meltdown. Search for Alistair, and then your opponent can't do anything to fusion summon. So I could see taking out some cards maybe to play some Terraformings in here, but that's the only changes I would make to the main deck, just to turbo out the Magical Meltdowns. So onto the extra deck, we'll go on. We got an Invoked Elysium. So this card just banishes everything. You banish a, an Invoked or something like that, and then you banish everything of that same attribute. Yeah, banish an Invoked monster you control or in your graveyard, and then you banish everything with the same attribute that your opponent controls. So, just, maybe probably never will come up, but 4,000 booty as well, so very strong. Easy to make. 2 Macabre. You could play 3 if you really wanted to, but Wings is your only light. Wings and Elysium are your only lights. Mechaba is very standard. Discard a card of the same type to negate any effect. So, very good stuff. We play 1 Magilunkia. All the Fluffals are Earth except for Wings. So just being able to straight up go into a 3,000 for pretty much free is very, very good. So 1 copy of Daredevil. He needs an Edge Imp and a Fluffal, any of them. If he destroys a monster by battle, you inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and then if he is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of your opponent's card effect, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each Frightfur in your grave. So he can help you burn for game, push, do all that dumb, degenerate stuff. Daredevil's a very good card. He's very underrated. We play 1 Sabertooth. So he is a Fright Fusion monster and one or more Fluffal or Edge Imps. And then if he's Fusion Summoned, you target a Frightfur in your grave and special summon it. All Frightfurs you control gain 400 attack. And then if he was Fusion Summoned using 3 or more materials, he is indestructible by battle and card effects. So, you know, very solid card. Automatically boosts himself up to 2800. If you combine him with Tiger, that's an instant 1000 boost to him and Tiger. So they'll both be really, really strong, and then he's indestructible if you use 3 or more materials, which is not hard to do at all. So one Crackalakin. He needs an Edge Imp monster and a Fluffal. You know, that's pretty standard. Very few of them actually need sabers, but, you know, he's the one that comes up most often. You know, Chain and Saw, I think, only have 1 fusion monster each in the entire archetype, and the rest of them are just Edge Imp monster or sabers. So it's better to, you know, be prepared. So you target a monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard, and then you can't attack directly during the turn that effect is activated. So very, very strong. And he can make a second attack during each battle phase, and then at the end of the battle phase, if he battled, you change him to defense. So he's a 22 beater, he can send a card to the graveyard, attack multiple times, and then he switches to defense with a 3000 booty. Kraken is a very, very good card. Once again, very underrated. We played 1 copy of Wolf. I could take him out. He almost never comes up. But, you know, sometimes you just want to attack 14 times with 1 monster. You know, it comes up. It does come up. You never know. He's a Edge Imp and 1 or more Fluffals, and then he gains an attack for each fusion material that you use. So automatically he'll have 2 attacks. But, you know, if you dump 9 other Fluffal monsters on top of those 2, you could attack 12 times. So, very good cards. Very good. He almost never comes up, but, you know, it's whatever. We got 2 LT Gray Fright for Tiger. He's an Edge Imp and 1 or more Fluffals. When he's Fusion Summoned, you target cards on the field up to the number of fusion materials used for it, and then destroy them. So, he is the main Frightfur that I'll go into first, that you pretty much you'll typically want to go into first to clear out your opponent's board and, you know, do whatever you gotta do. Just add all of them to your hand and then just fuse them all away and pop 6 or 7 cards. And then if you're playing your cards right, if you got a, you know, good hand, you're gonna get like 3 or 4 of those cards back, and then you can just fuse right straight into a Sabretooth and just bring him back, because he gives an extra 300 attack for each Fluffal and Frightfur monster you control as well. So he will give him and Sabretooth on the board at the same time. He will give an extra 600 and Sabretooth will give an extra 400. So that's automatically giving an extra 1000 for each to each Frightfur. 1 Seraphy Knight for your brilliant fusion stuff. We played 2 Sheep. Sheepy. I could take him out too. I don't feel comfortable really taking him out, but I could put him to 1 definitely for more Link monsters, stuff like that. So he's Chain and a Fluffal monster, and then if he battles, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated. So he's Armades, you know, can't do anything until after damage step. And then if he's destroyed by battle instead of the graveyard, or destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special him from grave, and he gains 800 attack. So he's just gonna keep coming back, gain 800 attack, so he'll be 2800 as soon as he comes back, because he's 2000. You can instant fusion him out too if you really wanted to. You know, that's not the worst play in the world, but Sheep is very good. I remember when he started going up in price a long time ago. Last fusion we play is Invoked Kaliga, so he's the Dark Invoked, and he's a very good card. So if either player attempts to activate any monster effects, that's the only one they can activate for the entire turn while he's on the field. And each player can only attack with 1 monster during each battle phase as well. So he just helps you floodgate out. You know, if you open really bad, but you can still end up with like a double Aleaster in hand or something like that, or say a Chain and Aleaster, you just fuse into him and just hope and pray for the best. He can definitely help you stall out. And the last extra deck card you play is an Aleaster Link Monster. So 2 monsters with different types and attributes. He's treated as Alistair while on the field and in grave. And if a monster is fusion summoned to his own, he points to discard a card, add an invocation or a mega summon from deck to hand. And then if he leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you add Omega Summon. He adds Book of the Law for the first effect, not Omega Summon. But I don't play either of those two cards. I would play Book of the Law, most likely, but I don't have any, and I don't really feel comfortable trying to make room for it. So that's going to be it for this deck profile. It's a very preemptive build. I kind of just slapped it together. To be fair, you know, despite my warning at the beginning of the video of me being like, you know, I don't like to just slap deck profiles together, I did just kind of slap this one together. But it worked out pretty well, so I felt more comfortable with it. This is like the second build I made with these cards. So I'm very interested to see what's going forward. I know Frightfur's just got another fusion monster revealed. It was very underwhelming. But we'll see what kind of stuff happens in the future. Maybe we'll get that Frightfur Link Monster that people are asking for. I doubt it. You never know. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Like, subscribe, slide for our duels forever. Buy from Sora online on TCG Player. And we will be seeing you. Peace.